Hey guys, welcome to Driving with John in GTA. We are the lady character, and we're gonna see if we can level her up a bit. So what we're gonna do is go into a playlist, and I need to get some more playlists online, but we're gonna use something that I've already made. So we hold that button. No, what am I doing? That button, online, playlists. I don't think I've got any bookmarked. Oh, let's do Rockstar playlist. Let's see what we got. Ah, it's all like multiple players. Land of the Free, 1 to 8 players. What do we got here? What is this mess? Yeah, it's some races. So looks like it's races out in the country. We're gonna do that. Out in the countryside. Driving the old Tronster Mux. Level 26. Let's see if we can get her up to, level 30. I don't know how much longer I have on this double RP stuff. It might not even be double RP anymore. I didn't look. Let's drop that. And let's make it German. Like that color combination, black and gold looks good. This is black and yellow. I'd like to go to Germany. I think I've said that in another video. I'd really like to drive around the Nürburgring. Don't even have to go fast, just want to be there and do it. Of course, I probably would go a little fast. I have some knowledge of the track from simulation racing games, but those don't always accurately represent the elevation changes and bumps and such in the track, so you shouldn't like play it on a racing game and then go out and try to do it just as fast, because it ain't gonna work for you. But I know that, so I would just know the corners coming up and possibly be able to set my line up through a few corners to be a little bit better than I would without knowing the track. I like the steering wheel with the little yellow stripe at the top. And then the next project car I build, which I'm planning out right now, I'm going to have a Momo Mod 07 suede wheel with the yellow stripe at the top. I think that'd be pretty cool. I'll probably catch hell from my wife for pulling the airbag out. She doesn't want me to die, and that's sweet. But it's got to have a Momo. Racing seats are expensive. Like, you can get cheap, crappy seats, but cheap, crappy seats are cheap and crappy. I have one, and it's both cheap and crappy. But it was like $140, but I think I'm gonna get, I think it's the Corvo A4 wide. I'm not a svelte and slender fella. A little bit overweight, so I have to get the wide because my big fatness. I was thinking about though getting a wide, and then I can't see the checkpoint. I need to get out of this. I know I do a big jump here. I need to be able to see it to do it. That's a pretty good jump. Or it's more of a fall into a tree. Anyway, I might get a wide and then a normal one, and put the because I am trying to lose weight, but put the wide one on the driver's side and the normal one on the passenger side, and it won't get used much. And then if I can lose weight or get to a point where, you know, the wide is too big, then I can just buy one more normal one and sell the wide one. I mean, some people are very much okay with just having the one seat. I want it to be 2 seats in case someone rides with me. But for the type of driving I'm wanting to do in the car that I'm going to build, it's not necessarily the type of driving you do with a passenger, usually by yourself. So it might not even be a point in getting 2 racing seats, because it ups the cost a lot. You know, you're looking at $800-900 per seat, and then a couple $100 for the racing harnesses per seat. And it gets a little bit expensive. But if you're going to do it right, and the car's not going to get that much. What I want is a 2001 Mustang Bullitt. It's a good setup. I like the suspension on it as is. I have a 2004 Mach 1, and the suspension and brakes are the same. Pretty sure they even down to the same shocks and struts. I know they use the same springs. Sway bars are a little bit different. From what I've heard, the Bullitt is the best handling one outside of the 0304 Cobra, and you know, you're talking early 2000s Mustangs based off a 78, 79 Fairmont chassis. So I mean, it's not going to be great, but you know, not bad. But the cool thing about those Bullets is they're 3/4 of an inch lower. Ooh, I gotta drive that. I don't want to drive that. I hate big bikes like that. But yeah, it's 3/4 of an inch lower than a normal Mustang. And while a lot of people would want to go lower than that, yeah, I still might. I'm not sure yet. But it doesn't have a huge fender well gap stock form. So if I were to lower it, it'd be something I'd do later. Now let me explain that. I'm going to get off on a tangent here for a second. The reason for that is you can lower them further and they look really good. You know, really snug down wheels and tires, if the wheels and tires are the right size. But you run into bump steer issues, or tram lining, I guess. So there are bump steer kits that you have to get, and that's just a little bit more money. It's not a whole bunch of money, but it's a little more something you got to do. And then you can't, there's not enough camber alignment, and probably not enough caster alignment either for lowering the cars quite a bit. So you have to then do caster camber plates on top of the strut towers, and that's ooh, that rock killed me. But it's not really expensive. It's just something else that you gotta do. So the few things that you have to do to lower it add up to become quite a bit of money. And if you can get one, you know, spend just a little bit more on a different model of the car in the first place that already has a good enough suspension to do what I need to do, then it's just a matter of changing the stuff I would have changed anyway, which, like, maybe rear sway bar, definitely rear lower control arms. The Bullets have factory bolt-in subframe connectors, I do believe. I need to check on that. I don't know if they do from the factory. The one I was looking at the other day had the factory bolt-in subframe connectors. Not near as good as weld-in subframe connectors, and I would do weld-in subframe connectors on it. But it's just one of those things. It's like, because it already has the bolt-in ones, it is a little bit better than a normal GT, and it's not something that I would want to do immediately. So it kind of, spending a little bit more on the Bullet up front knocks down the things that I want to do right off the bat. It knocks that list down a lot, and it's like, it's good enough for now. I can get to it later. So then the list of what I really want to do becomes, I've already got a set of 18s for 18x9s and 18x10s. So just get good tires. Probably, I keep wanting Michelin Pilot Super Sports. We'll see about that. They're kind of expensive. They're not a whole bunch more expensive than like Nitto NT 555s, but the 555s they're not near as good of a tire. They're a good tire, but they're not near as good of a tire. They last a lot longer, do better in the rain, and I think the Pilot Super Sports might do pretty well in the rain. But anyway, so get tires. I've already got wheels. Now the bullets already have the same brakes that were on the 0304 Mach 1 and 99, 01, 03, and 4 Cobras. So the brakes aren't bad. You know, for heavy track use, you could step up to a bigger brake. You don't necessarily need to though. You're just, you know, looking at better pads, better fluid that doesn't overheat and boil as quickly, and then possibly like maybe front brake cooling ducts. So anyway, let's get back to the list. So, you know, if we take a bullet, which already also has appearance options that I like as well. Anyway, take a bullet. I've already got wheels. So tires, brake pads, brake fluid, transmission fluid, we're in grease fluid, whatever, oil, coolant, seats, seat brackets, harness bar, harnesses, steering wheel, and, you know, equipment that goes with the steering wheel to make it work, all the adapters. And possibly exhaust. Well, you know, we'll see about that. If you're going to do exhaust, really the only way to do it is like long tube headers, Catless X, and then, you know, your cab back. So see about that. But that doesn't have to happen. That can happen later. You know, those bullets were rated at, oh wow, that's a bunch of points. The bullets were rated at 265 or whatever, but all the dyno stuff kind of supports the 270, 275 horsepower at the flywheel mark, from what I've read. They're just a hair faster than a 99-04 GT, so by no means are they fast cars. But that's kind of why I want one. Because I had a GT, and it was really fun because I could take it down on back roads, and I could leave my foot in it. Like, I've got this Mach 1 now that's kind of modded, and it is probably a little over 300 horsepower at the flywheel. And not the flywheel, over 300 at the wheels. So, you know, it's 350, 360 flywheel. You know, that's an estimate. It hasn't been on a dyno. But given these mods, and other people have done the same mods and where they were at, that's what it should be. And being a fairly light car, it's about 3,300 pounds, with that much power, you know, I go out on a back road and punch it between corners and stuff. I mean, I see people on you know, on YouTube reviewing cars and going real fast on some roads. I'm not willing to risk the ticket that I would get with that car because it's got the power to go fast enough to get me in quite a bit of trouble. So it becomes not as fun to drive it quickly on back roads because you're always having to hold back a little bit. With the GT and 260 flywheel horsepower and through a manual transmission, about 230 to 240 to the wheels, you could leave your foot in it longer and push the car harder and then still not go quite as fast, which it was more fun because it's not necessarily about going fast, it's about feeling like you're going fast. And to feel, you know, if you're having to push the car harder, or you can push the car harder and run, you know, let's say third gear out instead of just second gear and then having to back off in third, you're going to have a little bit more fun. It's just more of an experience. Here we go. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of why, like, I want that older, you know, bullet. I like how they look, and it's got a very usable brake setup. The suspension's not bad. It can definitely use some stiffening and some mods here and there on certain pieces. I landed a little bit too far back. Anyway, or too far forward. But you know, good car, whatever. But another thing is, like, with the wheels I already have and the parts that I want for it, you know, I can get a car that does everything I need it to do and corners very well and is fairly fast and is, for the, you know, what am I trying to say here? To me, extremely fun. Like, I don't care what anybody else thinks about how it looks or how it sounds or anything or how it drives, whatever. Don't care. To me, it's extremely fun. I can do this for less than $10,000. When you're talking about building a car that can go across country, you can't really beat that. I kind of got off on some other stuff there, but yeah. So, you know, you're talking like I said earlier, you're talking tires, brakes, all the fluid changes, and then the interior bits, and you're pretty much done with the car. You would want to go ahead and do a few of the suspension pieces, the lower rear control arms. Then eventually, like later, let's say you want to do the exhaust, so you save up just a little bit more, and you go ahead and get a tubular K-member as well, which stiffens up the front end of the car and also lightens the front end of the car, because on those Mustangs, those New Edge cars, you have to, I rolled a Tronster Muck, but on those New Edge cars, you have to lower the K-member down away from the chassis to put headers on. I think. Pretty sure you have to. So it's like if you're doing headers, why not go ahead and do the K-member too? Or if you're, vice versa, if you're doing a K-member, you might as well do headers while you're in there. And I don't know what kind of power you can get out of those. I mean, obviously the 2-valve Mustangs are down on power and they don't respond well to mods. It kind of, everybody knows that like the 2-valve GTs, they sound great, but they're not fast. I know you can take a normal GT and change the plenum on it. The plenum and the throttle body and long tube headers and, full exhaust, catless exhaust and all that. And get the thing, and, a tune, obviously. You gotta have a tune on the computer for all this stuff, but you can get it up to something like 270 at the wheels, so that means around 290 at the flywheel. Or 295 or something like that. But, I mean, that's about what you can get to. You can get them up to around 300 flywheel horsepower. It is not bad. So I'm, kind of looking at the Bullet, and I'm like, okay, the Bullet already had a freer flowing exhaust than the GT, and it already has a better intake manifold and throttle body setup that flows a lot more air than the GT. So, I mean, at this point, you're just looking at, maybe even a little bit better exhaust and a tune, and, there's not really much you can do for it beyond that before you get into the engine and start changing cams and such. So it's like, maybe headers and stuff just for the sound, but really power-wise, it's not, for what I'm wanting to do, it's not needed. And what I'm wanting to do is mount GoPros all over the thing and go hit up mountain roads and then make some nice videos for you guys. And I'd like to go out to the Nevada, or what is it, the Silver State Class. I don't remember the names of the races right now, I'm tired. I'd like to do the hill climb out there. The Spectre 341 hill climb, I think is what it's called. That, hill climb type races would be fun with it. It'd be fun to go to Pikes Peak and run that. I mean, I don't care what place I come in. I really don't. It'd be cool to win, but it'd just be cool to take my car out there. I'd probably, for that stuff, I'd have to put a roll cage in it and such. But, it would be fun just to go out there and just do it, to have done it. It doesn't matter if I come in last place. I did it. Did you? No, I did. Cool. That's what I want to do. It'd be fun to take it to these half-mile drag races they're doing, or these single run kind of top speed runs down a runway. Stuff like that would be fun. And if I didn't have a cage or whatever, they might limit me to 135. But if you're talking a car with 260, 270 horsepower, it's not going to go much faster than 140 anyway, so 135 is almost topping the car out. And would I be the fastest out there? Not a freaking chance. I mean, there's guys with cars that can do 250, 270 in a mile. I know there's drag cars that'll do much faster than that in a quarter mile, but they're pretty much toast by that point. I'm talking cars that technically could drive to the track, do the races, multiple passes, and drive home. That's a big difference. Off-road noon clear. Okay. But yeah, that's what I want to do. That'd be real fun. I'm into that stuff. I would like to go down to Dakota circuit through the Americas and run around that track a few times. I'd like to get out here to Hallett, west of Tulsa, run that track. And plus, something like that, I've got my Mach 1. It's in the garage. It's really nice. But something like that, get a Bullet with like 100,000 miles on it or something. I can thrash on it a little bit more. Me and my son can work on it. I can teach him to buff on it because I do all the detailing and stuff too. So, and teach him all this stuff. And it'd be good for that. Now, the problem I run into is like, okay, what if I crash the thing? It's not necessarily easy to find Bullet specific parts. Now, the whole front end is the same as a V6 GT or whatever. It's got the GT hood with the fake kind of hood scoop on it, which just sucks. I hate the fake hood scoop. But the side scoops behind the doors on the Bullet are Bullet specific, Bullet only pieces, and they're basically almost flat. They're like trying to hide the scoop and make it non-existent, and I think it looks really cool because it's really played down and underdone. The trunk lid or deck lid, whatever you want to call it, the boot, did not have a spoiler on the Bullets. Can you find one of those? Yeah. Can you take one with holes in it and fill the holes and recreate that? Yeah, that's not a problem. And the bumpers are the same as the GTs and everything, so, or the V6s too, so excuse me, guys. Let me get some drink here. Okay, so that stuff's not hard, but like those side scoops that are flat, those are getting hard to find. And below the doors, the sill covers or whatever they're called, are different on the Bullets, and they're Bullet specific. They're very similar to the 0304 Cobras in that they're smooth and kind of wrap under the car, which I think is a really, really good look, because it's very reminiscent of cars from the 60s and 70s where the body wrapped under. But they also have like a little kind of built-in mud flap piece at the front on each side. I think is great because being a detailer, if there's a piece on the car from the factory that keeps crap from the tires slinging up the sides of my paint job, yep, I'm good with that. So I really like that. And also, they have another part, not specific to them, but just between the Bullets and the Mach 1s, that was the only one to have it, is the 9904 Mustangs, the quarter windows right behind the main door windows, most of them, they start, think of like a half rainbow, right? So it's just kind of a curve. The Bullets and Mach 1s go back and then kind of cut down at an angle back towards the door, almost reminiscent of rear windows on BMWs. And I think you can use glass from either one. I need to check into that, but the interior trim and the exterior wing panel, whatever that's called, sail panel, there you go, wing, what am I thinking? Anyway, the exterior sail panel and the interior trim are different. And also, those are, you can still find them, but it's not super easy to find them. So then I'm kind of thinking, okay, well then I could just get a GT, which I'm not going to have any trouble finding replacement parts. And then I could, it's going to cost me a little bit. The car will cost me less, but the parts will cost me more to get up to just where the Bullet is in terms of brakes and suspension. That rock stopped me. Now, one cool thing about that is, if I take that route, I'll already have a set of takeoff Bullet springs sitting out in my shed. They're currently kind of slated for my wife's Mustang, but I could probably talk her out of them. So then it's just a matter of replacing the struts and rear shocks, which I was going to do anyway. And the cool thing about swapping to those springs is, like I said, they're about 3/4 inches lower than stock, but they don't, you don't really need caster camber plates. It's just right there at the edge where you don't need them anymore. But anyway, guys, we are going to cut this video off there. I think. Yeah. We're going to cut this one off there, and I'm going to continue on playing and make the next video straight after this, which I shouldn't say stuff like that. Fourth wall breaks and all that. Who cares? We're having fun. So anyway, hope you guys like this video. Subscribe and come back for more.